Now, interestingly enough, the official musical term for loudness in music is a word, again, that you might not have ever heard associated with music before. It's the concept of dynamics. Those of you who have had like band instrument lessons and stuff, you might be a bit familiar with that word. Music has a lot of drama in it because there are parts that are louder and more intense, and there are parts that are more delicate. It can express more moods that way and stuff like that. So, the question that I have everyone ask themselves at the end of the song on the subject of dynamics is, gee, did I play, did I play loud in the loud parts and soft in the soft parts? If you did, they're going to be clapping and throwing money at you in no time. If you don't, they're probably going to kick you out of the band and get somebody who can. It's just that simple. Now, down here to number 5, the 5th main area of music. Much as I try to diminish the importance of what I call the stupid machine over here, obviously you can't take that too far. If you want to be a guitarist, you have to learn how the machine works, and you have to also know how physically to interface with the device. This, of course, is the whole area in music of technique. Oops, see, I'm writing a little too big for this stuff. This is all the stuff about what you do with your fingers. How to hold the instrument, how to get the thing out of it. It's the physical part of playing the instrument. As I mentioned before, a lot of people go to that like too early. They think that what it is to play the guitar is nothing more than to get the book or go to the teacher and have him show you, what you're supposed to do with your fingers. But that would be just like tapping on a typewriter without knowing how to spell or anything at all. But in the end, it is ultimately very important that you know how that machine works. There are, certain prescribed and more logical ways, once you understand how the machine works, to actually manipulate the thing. Do you know how long it's going to take me to show you everything about this machine and about how you need to move around on it? It's going to take about an hour, as I said before, because it's just like a typewriter, and it didn't take you that long to actually figure out how it works. And it's very compelling. You'll actually see that there's nothing to understanding the guitar. And the funny thing is, most of the people you've ever seen in your life hold the guitar completely wrong. How do you like that? You're probably holding the guitar wrong. I'm not going to say there's an absolute right way and wrong way to hold it, but very few people ever go back to their old way once I show them the right way. We'll be into that in lesson number 3. But the rather funny question that I suggest people ask themselves at the end of the song is about this partnership thing. Gee, did I cooperate with the machine? I hate to reduce your nice new guitar you just bought there down to a soulless piece of wood with some wires stuck to it, but the truth of the matter is that's basically all it is. And you're the one that's creating the music by how well you can control the language and how well you physically learn to control the instrument itself. And again, it's much simpler than most people think. You just got to get the information in the right order. Okay, down here, number 6, the last main area of music down here is that nasty subject of notation. This, of course, is the whole subject of learning how to read music, read sheet music, and then ultimately, I suppose, know how to write it too. If you're a songwriter or a composer, you're going to have to know how to write this stuff. Now, I leave it up to each one of my students how seriously they want to get involved in their reading. The truth is, if you ever want to be a number 10 guitar player, you're going to have to learn how to read, and you're going to have to learn how to read well. I hate to hear myself say this, but over the experience, over the years I've been teaching, I have found that if I beat people over the head too much with their reading sometimes, particularly when all they want to play is rock and roll, that I just wind up boring them. Because learning how to read music is a relatively difficult thing to do, and it takes some work. And in fact, a question I get all the time is, why is learning to read music so difficult? You know, couldn't they make it any easier? And I go, probably not, actually. It's a very sophisticated and subtle little system which has evolved over the centuries and conveys an awful lot of information with relatively little clutter on the page. And I don't know whether, if we had it to do over again, we could ever come up with anything better than that. It's actually pretty good. So people go, well, then why is it so difficult to learn to read music? And it's right back to this thing again. Music is a language, and it's difficult to learn to read any language. You didn't learn to read the English language overnight, did you? How long did it take you to learn to read the English language? You have to realize it's going to take time. It might be a little boring. The rewards are definitely there if you do it, and we will certainly be talking about notation through this program. But another thing you'll want to know is, you know, we're not going to cram that down your throat if that's, you know, if you're not interested in playing the more sophisticated styles of music. Oh, by the way, a thing I meant to mention earlier is another promise I make all my students is I am not going to fill your head with a bunch of dumb junk that you don't need to know anyway. I'm not going to try to turn you into a jazz player. I'm not going to try to turn you into a classical guitar player. This program is simply about the basic stuff you need to understand in order to play popular music. So, you know, you've got to know what you're doing, as we mentioned right up front, but it's not like this is, oh God, this endless stream of useless information. You're going to find that everything in this program is pertinent to exactly what you want to do. So, the sixth main area of music is notation, and the question we might like to ask ourselves at the end of the song is, gee, how is my reading coming? It's not really a song-by-song question. Another question people have about reading, too, is they go, well, my last guitar teacher, all he did was he stuck me in an exercise book and made me play Mary Had a Little Lamb and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Stars until I was so bored and sick of it that, you know, that I just couldn't stand it anymore. And I go, in a way, that's pretty much the way it has to be. Remember, you didn't start off reading Shakespeare. The first stuff you ever read was stuff like See the Cat Run. You know what I mean? So when they stick you in the exercise book and make you play Mary Had a Little Lamb, that's because you pretty much have to start there, because playing Mary Had a Little Lamb in the musical language is something kind of like equivalent to See the Cat Run in the English language.
Hi, I'm Scotty West, creator of the Absolutely Understand Guitar Video Home Study Program. Hey, thanks for all the positive feedback on our video guitar lessons. We're now uploading new lessons right from our DVD Home Study Program. Each lesson is 70 minutes long, but we've chopped them up into 10-minute chapters to fit on YouTube, so each lesson will have 7 chapters. It's critical that you watch these chapters in order. Make sure you start with Lesson 1, Chapter 1, then move to Lesson 1, Chapter 2, etc. When you've finished all the chapters for Lesson 1, then move on to Lesson 2. Hey, some of this stuff you might already know, and some of it's a little dry. You're going to wonder, do I really need to know this stuff? The answer is yes. Each one of these chapters contains little gems of information that nobody's told you yet, and these are the missing pieces that are preventing you from seeing the big picture. Don't cheat yourself out of these valuable realizations. Stick with the program. Also, consider our complete DVD home study program. Our high-resolution DVD video is much better than these fuzzy little YouTube clips, and you'll also get all our cool printed material too. So good luck with your music and enjoy the lessons.